Today, we are focusing on another issue that is plaguing West Asia, and that's climate change. Millions in Syria and Iraq are facing water shortages as the region's longest river, the Euphrates, dries up.
The mighty Euphrates River seems to have fallen hard in recent times. The bedrock of civilization looks nothing like its glorious past, but continues to disappear, leaving millions of Syrian, Turkish, and Iraqi people stranded and at the risk of displacement. The region's agriculture is also dying as the disappearing waters become toxic, confirming scary prophecies of the end. Why is the Euphrates River drying up? And what are the factors contributing to its decline? What factors or reasons contribute to the disappearance of the river? How does the drying up of the Euphrates River impact agriculture, ecosystems, and the livelihoods of people in the region? Keep watching to find out. The Euphrates River is currently at one of the lowest points in recorded history. The water levels have been declining for decades due to some factors we thought it was strong enough to withstand. Climate change, increased water withdrawals for irrigation, and the construction of dams have all played a role in the river's demise. But people seem to be looking toward the direction of divinity as a bigger cause. This is not without a good reason. The Euphrates River has always had divine undertones starting from its appearance in the Christian, Islamic, and Judaic religions, where it features as one of the 4 rivers that flowed out of the Garden of Eden. Scientists estimate the river to be at least 10,000 years old, but ancient artifacts and the remains of the ancient Homo erectus found in the region suggest that the river is about 450,000 years old, if not above that. The Euphrates River is also one of the most historically significant rivers in the world. Ever heard about ancient Mesopotamia? The Euphrates and the Tigris rivers had formed the cradle of civilization in ancient Mesopotamia, present-day Iraq. It has nurtured the development of early urban societies, such as Sumer, Akkad, and Babylon. It is even rumored to have the beautiful hanging gardens of Babylon. Along the banks of the Euphrates, numerous archaeological sites can be found, preserving the remnants of ancient civilizations. Some notable sites include the ancient city of Mari in Syria, the ziggurat of Ur in Iraq, and the ruins of Babylon. You would wonder what size such a river would be. Well, the river, in its healthy state, is approximately 2,800 kilometers, 1,740 miles long, making it the longest river in Western Asia. Its average discharge is around 810 cubic meters per second, 28,600 cubic feet per second. On the map, the river originates from 2 branches, the Murat and the Karasu, which meet near the city of Kabab in Turkey. From there, it flows southeastward through Turkey, Syria, and Iraq before joining the Tigris River in southern Iraq, making it an international river that flows through 3 countries. The Euphrates water resources have been a source of cooperation and tension throughout history for these 3 countries. The Euphrates is also a crucial water source for irrigation, supporting agriculture in the region. The river's water has been used for thousands of years to cultivate crops such as wheat, barley, cotton, and rice, contributing to the development of ancient and modern civilizations. Syria owes over 85% of its agricultural life to the river, and you could say similar things for Turkey and Iraq. In line with this, and sadly not for the river's good, several major dams have been constructed along the Euphrates, altering its flow and creating reservoirs. The most notable dam, the Ataturk Dam in Turkey, one of the world's largest dams. Other significant dams include Topka Dam in Syria and the Haditha Dam in Iraq. Other than humans, there are other beneficiaries of the waters of the Euphrates River. The Euphrates River and its surrounding wetlands are home to various plant and animal species. It also provides a habitat for numerous migratory birds, fish species such as catfish and carp, and mammals like water buffalo and wild boar. However, while the Euphrates River continues to be a significant geographical, historical, and cultural feature in the region, captivating the imagination of people worldwide, the river has not been without challenges. the river has recently faced various challenges, including water scarcity, pollution, and political conflicts. Droughts, upstream dam constructions, and competing water demands have also led to decreased water flow and degradation of ecosystems in recent years, and might lead to the eventual death of the river. But what do we mean? Let's talk about the drying up of the Euphrates River. This Euphrates River has been drying up for a long time, becoming even more evident since a drought in 2007. In 2013, NASA's Twin Gravity Recovery and Climate Experiment satellite collected images of the river and made a shocking discovery. The satellite's data revealed that the Euphrates and Tigris rivers had lost up to 144 cubic meters of water since 2003. This was soon followed by a report in 2021 by the Iraqi Ministry of Water Resources, which projected that the Euphrates River would be completely dry in 2040. It turns out that the Euphrates River may not last until 2040 because, as of today, the river is almost completely dried up, with a large expanse of dry riverbeds as the only evidence of its glorious existence. The recent viewing from the Anna Tower has also made the situation even more disturbing. The Anna Tower is a water measurement tower located in Anna, Iraq. It was built in the 1950s to measure the water levels of the Euphrates River. The tower is 120 feet tall and has a cylindrical base. The drying of the Euphrates River has had a significant impact on the Anna Tower, leaving everyone marveling. In the past, the tower would be surrounded by water up to its base. However, in recent years, the water levels have dropped so low that the tower is now left standing in the dry riverbed, indicating the severity of the drying of the Euphrates River. Grasses can now also be seen growing all around the tower. In addition to the impact on the Anna Tower, the drying of the Euphrates River has other implications. For example, the water levels in Syria have fallen so low that some agricultural areas have been abandoned. The decline in water levels has also led to an increase in dust storms, exacerbating respiratory and other health problems. There is now immense water scarcity in many areas of the Euphrates Basin. This has made it difficult for people to access safe drinking water and harmed agriculture. Increased water pollution has also been a big problem in the Euphrates River, owing to the river's drying up. The river is not flowing as quickly, so it cannot flush out pollutants as effectively. The implication of this is an environmental degradation in the Euphrates Basin. This is because the river cannot support the same level of biodiversity as it did when it was flowing at a higher level. This is not all. The river has become unhealthy for residents, as the decreasing waters of the Euphrates River have also led to the sanitation of the river, which means that the water has become too salty for drinking or irrigation. The Euphrates River is also polluted with agricultural runoff, industrial waste, and sewage. This pollution has made the water unsafe to drink or swim in, leading to the proliferation of waterborne diseases. The combination of these factors has made the Euphrates River unhealthy for residents. People living near the river are at risk of developing waterborne diseases and may also have a difficulty accessing safe drinking water. According to a recent report published by the British medical journal BMJ, investigations show how many health emergencies are building up in Iraq as people struggle to get clean water. Diarrhea is a common problem in the region, often caused by drinking contaminated water. Cholera is a serious disease that can be fatal and is also typically caused by drinking contaminated water. Several other waterborne diseases can be caused by drinking contaminated water, including typhoid, dysentery, and hepatitis A, and the residents around the Euphrates River all seem to be at risk of them. In Syria, the devastation seems intense, with health systems in the region going down. Dr. Felipe Barbosa, the team lead for cholera and epidemic diarrhea diseases at the World Health Organization, WHO, as a result of the current state of things, emphasized the lack of health resources by saying, "We have no more vaccines." Sadly, the drying up of the river has not in any way halted the region's population growth. There is a growing population in the region, and as the river dries up, less water is available for drinking, irrigation, and industrial use. This leads to water scarcity in the region, making it difficult for people to meet their basic needs. In the end, the demise of the Euphrates River would leave over 150 million people stranded. People already have to travel long distances to find water, and the water they find is often unsafe to drink. Residents struggle to migrate to other locations in search of water, leaving the life that had taken them so many years to build. But these are not the only problems that come with the drying up of the Euphrates River. So what next? Let's talk about fierce conflicts that now surround the drying up of the Euphrates River. It is important to note that the Euphrates River is a highly significant water source to its three resident nations, as it flows through Turkey, Syria, and Iraq before joining the Tigris River and ultimately emptying into the Persian Gulf. The river flowing through these countries makes water crucial for their agriculture, hydroelectric power, and other livelihoods of the people in these countries. However, this common possession between these three countries is also a bone of contention. In all this, Turkey seems to always have the upper hand, mainly because the river originates from its region. This enables it to carry out actions regarding the river that affects everyone else. So far, the actions in Turkey towards managing its water resources have been very detrimental. Turkey has recently been constructing several dams and hydroelectric power plants along the Euphrates River. These projects, such as the Ataturk Dam, Karkamış Dam, and the Alisu Dam, aim to generate electricity and manage water resources within Turkey. However, these infrastructure projects have raised concerns among downstream countries like Syria and Iraq, as what they fear seems to be happening before their eyes. Both Syria and Iraq now experience reduced water flows, which have negative impacts on their agriculture and ecosystems. But the country that has suffered the most is Iraq. Iraq happens to be the downstream country at the lowest point. This means water must flow from Turkey into Syria before finally getting to Iraq. As a result, Turkey's dam constructions and water diversion had long started causing a severe drought in Iraq. Yet Turkey doesn't seem to be done with its water management projects. Syria and Iraq, being downstream countries, rely heavily on the Euphrates River for irrigation and water supply. They had voiced their concerns over decreased water levels, which can harm agricultural productivity and exacerbate water scarcity issues, affecting hydroelectric power generation and causing ecological imbalances. In the past, disagreements and tensions have arisen between Turkey and the downstream countries due to the management of the Euphrates River. These conflicts have been primarily diplomatic and involve negotiations and agreements to ensure a fair distribution of water resources. The governments of Turkey, Syria, and Iraq have engaged in talk and sought to establish frameworks for cooperation, but challenges and disputes remain being fueled by other issues such as broader conflicts and geopolitical dynamics, including the Syrian civil war and the fight against ISIS, Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. These factors have further complicated the situation and impacted the interactions between the countries regarding the Euphrates River. In 1989, Syria and Iraq entered into the treaty that eased the tension a bit and helped alleviate the suffering of Iraq by agreeing to allow 60% of the water flowing in from Turkey to go to Iraq. Due to this agreement, there had been peace for about 20 years, but this peace was eventually interrupted when Turkey launched its Southeastern Anatolia project, known as GAP. This is a large-scale development project in Turkey, initiated by the Turkish government to promote economic and social development in the southeastern region of Anatolia, which historically has faced challenges in terms of economic development and infrastructure. The primary objectives of the GAP project are to harness the potential of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, which flow through the region for irrigation and hydroelectric power generation, and to develop various sectors of the local economy. The project aims to increase agricultural productivity, generate electricity, improve water management, create employment opportunities, and enhance living standards in the region. The project led to the construction of 22 dams and 19 hydroelectric plants alongside irrigation systems and associated infrastructure. The dams built along the Tigris and Euphrates rivers provide water for irrigation, facilitating agricultural activities and enabling the cultivation of crops such as cotton, wheat, and vegetables. Additionally, hydroelectric power plants generate significant electricity for the region. The GAP project also incorporates social and economic development initiatives, such as education, healthcare, transportation, and tourism. The aim is to improve the overall quality of life for the people living in the region and create opportunities for sustainable growth and development. Over the years, the GAP project has had a profound impact on the southeastern region of Turkey. But both Syria and Iraq were left to suffer the consequences of the initiative. Still, the worst one is yet to come. The real chaos started when the Euphrates River started disappearing rapidly, creating even more tension between the resident nations as the conflict between these nations might enter into another dimension. After all, no one wants to be disadvantaged. In all this, climate change continues to do its part. The region's temperature is said to have increased by 1 degree Celsius in the past 100 years, and average rainfall in Syria has dropped by 18 millimeters per month per century. The drying up of the Euphrates River is currently significantly impacting Iraq and Syria. In Iraq, water levels in the river have dropped by as much as 50% in recent years. In Syria, the drying up of the Euphrates River has exacerbated the country's water crisis. The Syrian government has been forced to ration water, and many people have been displaced from their homes due to water shortages. It would not be so surprising if the drying up of the Euphrates River led to conflict over water resources between Iraq and Syria, as both countries are already competing for access to the river's water. If the river continues to dry up, this competition could become more intense and lead to violence. But what about the effects of the disappearing waters of the Euphrates on farmers? The effect of the drought on agriculture is another pitiful sight. In a dissection of who suffers the most among citizens, you would find the farmers in a very painful dilemma. Some are already out of jobs as there is no more water to irrigate their crop fields. Of course, sustainable domestic life would always be prioritized over farmers, so this is where the grunt becomes highly felt. So far, the drying up of the Euphrates River is devastatingly impacting agriculture in the region. The river is a major source of irrigation water for farmers. Its drying up is not only enhancing water shortages. Still, it is also leading to a loss of fertility of the soil, as well as a loss in agricultural productivity. This is how the soil becomes infertile. Do you recall that we had said that dropping the river levels of the Euphrates River causes the salt content of the soil to increase? There you have it. This makes the soil less fertile and more difficult to grow crops in. The loss of fertility inspired by the drying Euphrates River has led to reduced crop yields in the region. In Syria, the grain harvest has dropped awfully by an intimidating 75%. This is overall hurting the food security of the region, as many farmers in the region rely on the Euphrates River for their livelihoods. The drying up of the river has led to food shortages and insecurity and a significant loss of jobs and livelihoods for these farmers. The overall consequences of this are not encouraging, as the loss of jobs and livelihoods of these farmers leads to increased poverty in the region. The combination of food insecurity and poverty increases the region's social unrest risk. Farmers not entirely out of their jobs must adapt their agricultural processes to cope with water scarcity. This involves water-saving techniques such as drip irrigation, adopting drought-resistant crop varieties, or shifting towards less water-intense crops. Agriculture is a critical sector in the region's economy, and a decline in agricultural productivity would have ripple effects. While farmers face financial difficulties, local economies that rely heavily on agriculture will also suffer due to reduced incomes and unemployment opportunities. But what explains the drying up of the Euphrates River, and what roles do prophecies play? Of course, there are several science-friendly reasons why the Euphrates River is drying up, but other evidence implies that there may be more to the event. Undoubtedly, the region has been experiencing a prolonged drought exacerbated by climate change. Temperatures in northeast Syria have said to increase by 1 degree Celsius compared to 100 years ago, and the average rainfall has decreased by 11 millimeters per month per century. The multiple water withdrawals also play a role alongside the construction of dams and water diversion. The combination of these factors has no doubt threatened the future of the Euphrates River. But what if they are just pawns in a bigger game? Right now, all heads seem to be turning to another direction that seems to provide a more convincing explanation for the drying up of the Euphrates River, which is the hands of a supernatural force. But this is not without a good reason. So what is it? Many people seem to have come to terms with the fact that the Euphrates River is meant to dry up due to some religious prophecies that span thousands of years before we were born. These are prophecies about the end. As you know, the Euphrates River is no stranger to religious texts. The drying up of the Euphrates River is mentioned in several apocalyptic texts, such as in the Quran and in the Bible. In these texts, the drying up of the river is seen as a sign of the end times. In Islam, some of the hadiths of the Prophet Muhammad refer to the fact that the Euphrates River must dry up. According to him, the river will dry up to reveal a hidden treasure submerged under the Euphrates River. This will then become a source of great strife and conflicts. This might not scare you, but wait for what's coming next. In the Christian faith, the drying up of the Euphrates River is mentioned in the biblical book of Revelation, chapter 16, verse 12. The verse reads, "The sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up to prepare the way for the kings from the east." This verse is part of a series of prophecies about the end times, and this has made the drying up of the Euphrates River gain recognition as a sign that the end times are near. There are numerous interpretations of this prophecy. According to one of its interpretations, it is believed that the kings from the east will be the armies of Gog and Magog, who will invade Israel during the end times and lead the final battle against the Messiah and the righteous ones. Certainly, the Messiah will win the battle and destroy the evil from the world completely. While some understand the prophecy this way, others take the words more literally. It is said that when the prophecy was written, the kingdoms of China and India stood towards the east side of the river. It should be noted that the Euphrates in ancient times was crucial to the security of the Israelites. The river was a natural barrier that helped defend Israel from its enemies. The river was wide and deep and difficult to cross, especially in the ancient world. This made it difficult for enemies to invade Israel from the east. Now, what would it mean if the statement that the Euphrates River needs to dry up to make way for the kings of the east is to be taken literally? While you put this into consideration, let's move on. In the book of Revelation, chapter 9, verse 14, there is another prophecy about the drying up of the Euphrates, saying to the sixth angel which had a trumpet, "Loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates." The discovery of this scripture has not only been a mere discovery of prophecy concerning the Euphrates River, but the discovery of something that has caused all who come across it to shiver. The scripture implies that 4 fallen angels are bound under the Euphrates River. Fallen angels are also regarded as demons. If this doesn't scare you, nothing else will. But who are these demons? Demons are spiritual entities believed to be fallen angels who have sided with Satan or rebelled against God. They are often depicted as evil beings effectively working to oppose and corrupt humanity. The concept of demons is rooted in the Bible and has been developed and interpreted further within Christian theology and tradition. According to Christian belief, demons are part of the hierarchy of evil spiritual beings, with Satan being their leader. They are seen as tempters, deceivers, and agents of chaos, seeking to undermine the work of God and lead people away from righteousness. In the prophecy, these demons long chained under the Euphrates River will finally be released at the end of the ages to wreak havoc on the world. It is known that demons are already naturally destructive, But how violent will the ones who have been chained in darkness for probably thousands of years be? Think about it. Recently, a shocking discovery from the dry riverbed of the receding waters seems to provide evidence to this prophecy, leaving everyone in great wonder. Mysterious tunnels have been found under the Euphrates River, which is now dry. According to some, the 4 demons have been bound to these tunnels. Locals have also reported hearing scary sounds coming from them. It turns out the drying of the Euphrates River might have had a crucial role in releasing these demons. Whether these tunnels are where the fallen angels were bound or not, one thing remains astonishing about these prophecies. It is their accuracy about the drying up of the Euphrates River, which we can all clearly see now. Judging from this, you might want to start bracing yourself for the end of this age if the prophecies are true. What do you think about the Euphrates River drying up? Is the world about to end? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, ensure to like, share, and subscribe.